Back in 2021, the golf world learned the name Will Zalatoris as he finished runner-up at the Masters tournament. But how did a young 24-year-old playing in the Masters for the first time with no status on the PGA Tour deliver that kind of performance? Well, it didn't just happen overnight. A self-described golf rat had been preparing for major championship golf all his life, which is why the last 20 months have been extremely hard for him as he's battled through a devastating back injury. But now he's returned to Augusta National, still motivated by major championships, just as he's been for as long as he can remember.
My whole career has always been about the majors. That goes back to Cal Club, looking at Ken Venturi's U.S. Open trophy from when he won a Congressional in '64. Mr. Venturi used to hang out there all the time. I was probably 3 or 4 years old, and Mr. Venturi came over to me and taught me the overlap grip, and I've used an overlap grip my entire life.
When he was 9 years old, Will Zalatoris and his family moved from their home in California to Dallas, Texas. But his connection to major champions never stopped.
My parents used to put on a VHS tape, kind of like a Lee Trevino, how I play golf type thing. And I loved it. The humor, the shots that he would hit. He's always told me that I'm probably the only person that falls asleep when he talks. All right, so in case you don't believe me, the VHS tape from Lee Trevino that I watched as a kid, I literally keep in my car in hopes that I run into him around town so he can sign it. I'll put it in my office one day and have it for the rest of my life.
When Will was 12 years old and getting ready to go to his first AJGA tournament, he had gone on Google Earth and Googled the golf course he was getting ready to play and had the entire layout on these pieces of paper studying the places to hit the golf ball. That was when I thought, this kid has a chance to really be special.
After a standout junior and collegiate career, Zalatoris officially put his name on the professional golf map in 2021 when he finished runner-up in his Masters debut.
We're just learning about this player. What's not to like?
By now, you're getting more comfortable pronouncing his name.
Will Zalatoris.
Ladies and gentlemen, Will Zalatoris.
It was just such a blur going from kind of general anonymity to all of a sudden, it really felt like I was shot out of a cannon.
Yeah, Happy Gilmore caddy reference having Adam Sandler tweet at me.
We're thinking, what in the world just happened? It was just so life-changing.
In 2022, the close calls at majors continued. Zalatoris lost to Justin Thomas in a playoff at the PGA Championship. The next month at the U.S. Open, he had a putt on the final hole to force a playoff with Matt Fitzpatrick.
Once again, Zalatoris comes just short.
It was Zalatoris' third runner-up finish in a major. And with that early success, his growing fame created a new microscope.
Everybody's an armchair quarterback. Oh, he needs to do this, he needs to do that. But yeah, I think it did bother me quite a bit.
Somebody asked about his putting stroke. He said, look, it may not be the prettiest thing in the world. I'm not trying to win a beauty contest out here, but if anybody wants to go to that putting green and putt for whatever amount of money you want, let's go.
And this one is buried. Finally, Zalatoris is a PGA Tour winner.
Now I'm #1 in the FedEx Cup. I'm in the thick of hopefully being a FedEx Cup champion.
To see the relief on his face, to get that monkey off his back, that was pretty cool. Ultimate high and then the ultimate low the following week.
Will Zalatoris, his day is complete, his tournament is complete.
To see him walk into that locker room when he withdrew and to see the fear, it was the first time I've ever seen him truly scared.
The result of the MRI was not 1, but 2 herniated discs. His season was over, and so were his chances of winning the FedEx Cup and playing on the U.S. President's Cup team.
It was a really tough pill to swallow. I immediately got a hold of the same surgeons that Tiger went to, and I was basically given an option of either we can get surgery or we can do shots, do therapy that way. At your age, at 26, we never go straight into surgery. The shots helped, but I was still experiencing some numbness in my legs.
Zalatoris returned to the PGA Tour in January of 2023, making 7 starts that year before the Masters.
I was supposed to play with him that day, and I was sitting with him at breakfast, and everything seemed fine, and later it was done, and the season was over.
Disappointing bit of news to share with you. Will Zalatoris has withdrawn the 87th Masters.
One swing on the driving range at Augusta was where I did a ton of damage to those discs, and finally we knew that I needed to have surgery.
Zalatoris underwent a microdiscectomy, a procedure that would sideline him for 6 to 9 months.
The real low point through it all was 5 weeks after the surgery, I started having some horrible headaches, and I ended up having a cerebral spinal fluid leak, and so I had to go in for another surgery and was in the hospital for 3 days. My surgeon brought up retirement at one point. When he said it, I just kind of laughed because I'm like, I don't care if you've got to put 15 metal screws in me. Tiger Woods has a bad knee, bad back, and he won the Masters. Like, that's not gonna happen. Sorry, doc. I know that you want me to be as healthy as I can, but I'm going down swinging no matter what.
Watch it, neutral pelvic. Push, 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 push. Breath, breath, breath.
The 7th month was when I finally almost felt like I didn't even have surgery. No leg tingling, no flare-ups.
I've watched him through a lot of his rehab. I admire how he's taken this process. I cannot say that I would have done it anywhere near as good as he did. And I believe that he has that same fire to want to be back.
I take a lot of inspiration from seeing what some other guys have done. Peyton Manning winning another Super Bowl after having his neck fused. Tom Brady, his knee injury, coming back, play into his mid-40s. Jack Eichel just won a Stanley Cup and he's got synthetic discs in his back. Steph with his ankles, and he's literally changed how basketball is played. Tiger. These are all guys, they've gone through major injuries and have come back and have been at the highest of highs. There's no reason now to live in fear. I did live that way for a while, and it was not fun. And so now it's kind of like, if I injure them again, I injure them again. But I've also am doing everything the right way.
It's good to see him back out here because it's another face for us that we need and another star that people will buy into.
You're starting to see that confidence build back up as he's playing more rounds. So I imagine he'll get right back fully to where he was pretty soon.
A major championship would be very nice. That's always going to be goal number one. My story's not done by any stretch of the imagination. If anything, it's just getting started. I'm going down swinging.
Well, Rich, Will is going to give this game everything he's got. And he's leaned on Tiger Woods for support through this recovery and just someone to relate to. He's also leaned on his wife, Caitlin, who's been instrumental in keeping him distracted through the, quote, boredom, planning bucket list trips for them while he recovered that they normally couldn't do during the golf season, Wimbledon and Formula One race in Austin as well. But as he began practicing again, he went to a broomstick putter, which he told me he wished he'd done 10 years ago. It helps him stay more upright, not hurt his back, especially in long practice days. He's consistently in ice baths, shock therapy, chiropractor, physio, you name it. His warm-ups and cool downs every day are extensive, and he doesn't even wear a backpack anymore. He just has a little roller bag that he brings around. So whatever it takes to achieve his dream of winning a major championship, just like his childhood hero, Ken Venturi.